Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Season 2 of Scrum Call. In this season, we are diving deeper into the real world of Agile through engaging interviews, thought provoking articles, and insightful discussions. We are bringing you stories from Agile practitioners who have faced challenges, found solutions, and celebrated success. So, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, tune in to learn, grow, and connect with a broader Agile community. You can find Scrum Call on all major podcast platforms and even on YouTube. So, with that, let's get started. Hello, and welcome, folks, to another episode of Scrum Call. This is Season 2, and we are going to be featuring some industry stalwarts, people who are exceptional in their field. And with that said, I have Rashmi Fernandes here with me. Hey, Rashmi, how are you doing?
I'm great, Shishir. How are you?
Doing good and excited because this topic is very close to both our hearts.
Yes.
I can tell that for sure.
Yeah.
And so, folks, Rashmi and myself go way back, many years back when we were in Target. We were in two different teams, but the transformation that Rashmi has had for herself is also commendable. The work that she was doing in Target is very different from what she's doing right now. She's a leadership agility coach, and by no stretch of imagination, it's an easy job. But the reason she's here because she has certain important aspects to discuss. So before giving away too much, why don't I hand over, the days to Rashmi to introduce herself, tell her what is she all about, and then we'll get started from there. So Rashmi, over to you.
Thanks, Shishir. Like all of you know, my name is Rashmi Fernandes. Shishir already mentioned that we worked in Target before. I started off as an entrepreneur way back in 2000, with a small training institute, did multiple different kind of jobs. So you can say that I have a very versatile background. I have been a fraud analyst, I've been a technical troubleshooter. I was an operations manager when I started off at Target, but eventually transitioned into becoming a project manager, Scrum Master, Agile coach, product coach, innovation coach. And now, ended up being an agility for leadership or leadership agility coach. So that's about me, and I'm super excited to be here, Shishir. I've been looking forward to have this talk since we had that last conversation. So let's
Likewise. Perfect. So before I, delve headlong into the swimming pool, so to speak, I want to ask one simple question. Okay, is there something about you that people may not know but probably should know? What is that one fun thing about you?
Yeah, I think I'm mostly an open book, but there's one thing I feel like there is a little bit of confusion. Maybe it's good to call that out. One is people think I'm an extrovert because I'm very easygoing with people. I'm extremely confident. I can talk to anybody and everybody in the world, and have a conversation. I can start a conversation. But I'm actually an introvert, if most of you don't know me, and it may come as a surprise because it's quite the opposite that I portray myself to be. But after a while, right, it drains me out, and I sometimes take a step back to just rejuvenate and get back to my best version. But most often it's misunderstood as I'm showing an attitude, I have pride and whatnot. And then it keeps me wondering whether this is something that I need to continue to put forward or not. I've learned to overcome it to a certain extent. But it's just good for all of you to know that I'm not an extrovert. So if I'm stepping back and taking a break, it's not that I don't like you, it's just that I need a break.
Completely agree. Like I was telling you earlier, there are times when, and I'm an introvert myself, and I'm someone who has had to work on that. And I completely get this people detox sometimes, as I say it. But to put it the other way, I can't socialize or I can't do people for some time. Just give me a break. I need to rest and recover, build those muscles back, and then, get back to myself. So completely agree with that. But it can be misunderstood.
I didn't know you were an introvert, Shishir.
See, I've been working pretty well on that, I guess.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So with that, let's get into something, that is pretty serious, I would say, but let's see how it rolls from here.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I want to ask you is about this anti-patterns that we tend to see when we talk about agile transformation. There are Scrum Masters, Kanban leads who are working with the team, the leadership, product owners, managers, what have you. And everyone has their own version of agile or agility in their minds, right? And that causes friction in many ways. And everyone thinks that they are doing everything in their power to make this transformation happen. But there are anti-patterns that tend to creep in, right? So how can we go about this? Or what are these anti-patterns that sometimes mid to senior level leadership tends to exhibit?
It's a, like you said, it's not a small topic, right? It's a huge topic. And when I talk about agile or agility, we have to be talking in terms of business agility, because the very reason why organizations want to adopt business agility is because they want to be flexible and adaptive and have the freedom to be profitable in a way that they want, which is right for their context, right? So it's important for us to first understand what is business agility. So business agility is a set of organization capabilities or behaviors or and ways of working that gives businesses the freedom to be flexible, right? To achieve whatever purpose they have in their mind, no matter what the future brings. This is, this definition I've actually stolen from Business Agility Institute's events. But this is something that I truly believe in and everybody needs to understand. Because we don't focus on ways of working, because we don't focus on building capabilities or behaviors that are needed for agile transformation, we fail. That itself becomes the first anti-pattern. And who is responsible to make this happen? The leadership. And if you actually look at the Business Agility report that is being published for the last 6 years, leadership and management capabilities come up as the number one challenge or the obstacle for all business transformations.
Wow, why am I not surprised?
Which is why this ineffective leadership and management capability is causing so many failures in agile transformation. And the way we understand agile as just a framework or just implement Scrum and you will be agile, or just follow the rituals or ceremonies, you can be agile. That doesn't work,
It comes to that quintessential thing that I've heard that, we are following Jira. We are using Jira. We are agile. I've heard that so many times. I don't know how many times I facepalm myself.
Right. So I think that is the first anti-pattern and the biggest, obstacle in the way of a successful transformation. Because business agility is not like it's not a state, right? It's a continuous journey. Many challenges will come. Like to look at AI today, so many things are happening. With all of these revolution around AI, your business is definitely going to change. The way you work will change. The way
very true.
Will change. And if you're not open and flexible to change according to the needs of the environment, you will not survive, right? And no single framework in the world can solve for all of the needs that your business wants. So it's not about Scrum or Kanban or Crystal or SAFe. It's about you building that capacity to be flexible and be resilient in the times of change.
If I were to, bring in one aspect as well, right? Every time I think about agility or agile, one thing that hits my mind every time is it's common sense, right? Why is it common sense? Because it starts with your mindset. So if we talk about business agility, of course, money talks. I mean, let's be blunt over there, right?
Yeah.
It's because the money factor comes in, people are moved around, shuffling happens, restructuring happens, firing, hiring, all of that happens, right? But if you're talking about being agile from a business standpoint and being flexible, then it also means that the systems, processes, and the people that you have, how do you make them flexible enough? How do you exhibit those behaviors so that they also understand that, okay, something needs to change? And that's where they need to maybe believe in the process or trust the process or the people who are experts in that, right? But somewhere down the line, I kind of feel that this gets missed because of pressures to deliver the numbers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Most often the need for, agility comes because there is a business need, right? You need to survive or you need to sustain. But what most often organizations do is they are trying to protect themselves by cutting the cost, by reducing the staff, or by even just focusing on core business. And they lose the essence of focusing on the human beings that actually are going to make it happen. Right?
Very
So I'm
true.
not saying just focus on the human beings. I'm saying have a balance between your business growth and people. If you're not able to balance and take care of both of these, you're not going to be able to survive for a long time. You may see short-term growth or short-term results, but eventually it's going to block you from achieving whatever you want to achieve. And in fact, the business agility report also talks about this very beautifully, where even calls out saying that the trend is such that it is the need for all of this, like the focus on the core business or reducing staff or making more money, is reducing collaboration and innovation over the years. And year on year, they're actually seeing a 7% decrease in collaboration and innovation because of too much focus on, the business, core business, rather than on balance.
Correct. And this is something, this is so, I don't know to say shocking, because I have observed this empirically. What I mean to say is, when we talk about reduced collaboration, right? There is this sense that sometimes tends to creep into teams and people saying that if I am not doing this myself, I am probably not going the extra mile, which could let me, might cause me to get fired or something, because I'm not doing enough, so to speak. So instead of getting help, I'll figure it out and do it myself. Right? And that's a huge anti-pattern.
Correct. It's a huge anti-pattern. I totally agree. Agility should actually break silos, not create one. Right?
Correct. And that is where Scrum Masters struggle a lot.
Yeah, and it's a good point that you're raising as a Scrum Masters. The role of a Scrum Master is actually of a leadership role. They're supposed to bridge the gap between, the customer, the organization need, and work with the PO, the development need, and all stakeholders to make things happen and deliver value, significant value to the business or the customers. But what eventually is happening is because of our over focus on ceremonies or frameworks, we are just making our Scrum Masters some kind of administrative folks who are just,
very true.
Just making
set up meetings, take notes,
send recaps, so on and so forth. That has to change. Scrum Master is not an easy job. It's a very strong leadership role which needs you to be agile yourself. So you should be able to navigate your emotions, your actions and mindsets and behaviors, everything according to the environment. And if you cannot create a trusting environment where people can thrive, your business outcomes will be delivered for sure, but it's going to cause a lot of other issues within the team, like you said.
It's a short-term thing.
Yeah, short-term thing. There may be competitiveness, lack of innovation, maybe lack of trust, no psychological safety.
Got it. So, we touched on some really important points here when we talk about the anti-patterns, but then from a leadership standpoint, there's also an aspect of situational leadership, right? So how do we go about that?
Yeah. So what do you understand by situational leadership? Let me ask that question back to you.
Well, my understanding or my basic understanding of this is that as a leader, you need to see, or let me put it this way, you read the room. And then you take a call as to what is the right approach, instead of just having a one style that fits all sort of a thing.
I think you're right, and you're pretty close too. So situational leadership, is being able to think and act, in alignment to the needs of the customer. Let's say, if you can think creatively, great. But if you can't implement that into action, then it's of no use, right? If you're really a go-getter and you can act quickly, but you can't think creatively and just doing whatever you used to do in the past, the outcome cannot be different, right? So the way you think and the way you act, if there is an alignment between these two, especially in changing times, rapidly changing, uncertain, complex, like the VUCA world, only then you will be able to say that you are situationally adaptive. most of our leaders, and I'm sure you will agree when I say, we are promoted based on our past successes, right? I was a great IC, that's why I became a great team leader. I was promoted to be a team leader. I did, some process improvements, streamlined a few processes, managed a little bit, but I got promoted as a senior team leader. But nobody really trains you. Maybe some organizations are now, but most organizations don't train you on how to create an adaptive mindset or a behavior according to the needs of your leadership role. So I think that is where there is a lack of leaders who are situationally adaptive today. Some of us carry, like for example, if you're an SME and you got promoted, because of your subject matter expertise, you got promoted, not because you are a good leader. Right? And you will feel that your need to be a subject matter expert is more important than anything else, and you will continue to become the expert.
Correct.
And that expert mindset will reflect in all the work that you do. You're going to direct people, you're going to supervise people, you're going to tell them what to do.
Micromanage.
And you'll end up micromanaging people, and it's going to burn people out, and many other things. But as you grow and expand, you should build the capability to see the big picture, connect the dots, be able to drop the expert mindset, but carry the expertise, right? I'm good at something. Let's say I'm good at finance. So I will carry those aspects, but I will also not carry the mindset that says that I know it all. I will learn to leverage the team members who also have experience, who come up with a lot of great knowledge, expertise and experience into the, and bring them to the table to have those discussions rather than me telling them what to do. So there is a very subtle difference, right? And as you grow, higher and higher, you probably will also see that you become more result oriented rather than being. Then you need to become more aware of your environment. Like you mentioned earlier, what kind of policies do we have? What kind of metrics am I asking my teams to drive and things like that? I'd like to share this diagram with you, right? As a licensed Agile Leadership Journey guide, I work with a community of coaches, across the globe to actually teach and educate and coach leadership across all levels. And one of the things that we talk about is this cone that you are, seeing right now. There are different types of leaders in the, world. And if you look at this cone, that the first type of leadership is called an expert leader. An expert leader is somebody who focuses on just the task or the tactical stuff, right? An achiever leader is somebody who focuses on results like projects, and he's a little bit strategic in comparison to an expert leader. And if you actually look at the numbers, about 90% of the leaders across the globe, are experts and achievers, which means they're not really focusing on culture. They're not really visionary. They're just focusing on making sure their work is done well. And when we say they're expert and achiever leaders, that's their mindset. They have an expert mindset and they have an achiever mindset, which makes them focus really on tactical and strategic stuff, nothing beyond. But what agility requires is for us to be cactus leaders, which means those kind of leaders who are able to create the culture, which is apt for an agile transformation or apt for agility to happen within your organization.
Alrighty guys, that's all we had for today. And I thank you for joining us for yet another episode. We hope you learned something valuable and it ignited your passion for Agile. We truly appreciate your time, and if you enjoyed this episode, please consider the opportunity to join this fledgling community by becoming a subscriber and helping to spread the knowledge by liking and sharing this episode among your circles and even your Agile teams. Finally, to make it worth your time with us, I want you to know that your interaction is what keeps ScrumCall relevant and exciting. Leave us a comment or drop an email at scrumcall.feb17@gmail.com. That is scrumcall.feb17 for father, E for egg, B for baby, and the numbers 17. scrumcall.feb17@gmail.com. Share your thoughts, your suggestions, or simply tell us what is it that you would like us to cover in future episodes. Until next time, remember, Agile is common sense in practice.